Hey traders, how are you doing? I hope everybody's okay and everybody's fine. So as normal, as usual, we are carrying on with our sessions, and here is Assam Forex Tanzania, or Assam Forex TZ. Mainly we are dropping contents from Forex, but they are applicable in other financial markets, but specifically we are dealing with what we call the Forex market. So Mr. Assam himself, so usually I used to call myself as Mr. Assam, and it is not myself. Mainly there are many people who usually hear me in all of the presentations from Assam Forex. That's why they decided to call me as Mr. Assam. But Assam Forex is mainly, it is just an academy. Assam, mainly A means academy, and S is science, Academy of Science, and A is arts, and M is money. So it is Academy of Science and Arts of Money. Therefore, the short form is what we call the Assam, is what we call Assam. So usually people that they used to call me as Mr. Assam, but it is not bad, so I accept this, and usually I used to call myself as Mr. Assam also. So here is Mr. Assam as usual. I'm dropping those contents from what we call the Advanced Forex, and specifically we have advanced course in what we call the Elliott wave. So today, as usual, is another weekend, so we are going to learn the second part, because we had the first part. So if you have not yet watched the first part of Advanced Elliott Wave, so make sure that you watch it before watching this second part. But also before watching the first part, remember we had an introductory part. We had the introduction on Advanced Forex, so make sure that you watch that introductory part on Advanced Forex, and mainly it is on Elliott Wave. So make sure you watch those preliminary parts before watching this second part. So before we go to the whiteboard, make sure that you do the following things in about 5 seconds, or maybe not 5 seconds. It can be more than 5 seconds, but make sure that you visit our broker. This is our recommended broker. It is not our broker. That means that maybe we are part of this broker, but we recommend traders to trade with this broker, LITEFOREX Broker. So make sure that you hit this button here. For those who are using computers, actually, they get this kind of view. So they are able to hit this button and get connected directly to the broker, LITEFOREX Broker. Then you have the second button here is to our Telegram channel. So you can hit this button and then join our Telegram channel. And the second part here is what to call the best analysis software. Well, this is what to call the online platform. That is what to call the Trading View. Actually, those who are actually yet have been trading with this, actually maybe they know what is Trading View, and it is the best actually from those trading platforms that I know. Actually, I can recommend you to trade with this. Then the third button there is Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram, and the last thing there is what to call our trading system. You can learn about our trading system, but basically we are dealing with what to call the Elliott wave. So before doing anything else, make sure that you can follow the things, and then we carry on with our lesson. So take time to do that. Now, above all, make sure that you subscribe this channel. Now, remember this. Above all, subscribe this channel in order to be able to get notification, or to be notified when we upload those other contents. Actually, we're still left with many parts, so when we upload other parts, make sure that you get notified. If you subscribe, you'll be notified, but if you don't subscribe, you'll miss some parts. Now let's go straight to the whiteboard and start our lesson. So as usual, it is Advanced Elliott Wave. It is Advanced Elliott Wave, and mainly this is the second part, that is part 2 of 12. Now we expect to have 12 lessons. So this is the second lesson from 12 lessons. So make sure that you keep in touch in order to understand Advanced Forex throughout all of those lessons that have been planned. And as I said before, those contents that I'm presenting here are the things that nobody have yet presented on YouTube. if is there anyone who have been presented those things in the way that I'm presenting, actually you can tag that person in the comment section there. And always I invite you to comment, to give out your feedback, if maybe you understand the sessions or you need anything to be improved, or a language or anything else. So make sure that you put those informations in the comment section. And if is there any mentor who have already presented those informations, make sure you tag that person there in order for other learners maybe to follow that that mentor, in order to get more information or additional information that maybe they are missing from my sessions, because actually I appreciate activity or a work of anyone else. So now the second part of Advanced Elliott Wave, mainly we are going through guidelines. We are going through Elliott Wave guidelines. So last session we covered the guideline of alternation. The guideline of alternation, actually it is alternation. This one actually was very extended. Actually it covered even other guidelines, so it was not as alternation by itself. Within alternation we covered things like the idea of extension. Actually we covered the idea of extension. Actually it was part of alternation, so actually it was too extended, and actually I don't expect if there will be any other lessons that will be too long like this one. So the remaining sessions actually they are very short. So the guideline of alternation was over, and today we are going to the second guideline, and mainly this is the guideline of channeling. Our today's session is from the guideline of channeling. Now this is very simple. It will be a very short session, but keep in touch, because it is very tricky, and that it will help you a lot in the market if you will understand how to apply the idea of channeling. Now the idea of Elliott Wave is all about counting the things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and issues like the ABC. So that's all about what we call the Elliott Wave. And everyone, when you introduce someone to the concept of Elliott Wave, actually you find that you are dealing with the issues of numbers, and letters. But now Elliott Wave goes beyond numbers and letters. In some parts, Elliott Wave includes what we call the technical analysis. To a certain degree, Elliott Wave includes what we call the technical analysis. And one part in which Elliott Wave includes the technical analysis is on the idea of channeling. Now, the idea of channeling in price action, because I was actually doing price action before Elliott Wave. Actually, I did price action, and I have been trading with the price action, so I know many things from price action. I know the issues on trend lines. I know the issues on remember those things, I don't know, I will call it the issues on demand and supply. If the market is trending, I think those are what we call the support and resistance, those zones. I remember the things. And also I covered the idea of chart patterns. I covered the idea of things like triangles. We have things like rectangles. We have other things, they call them as flags. Yeah, there are many things in price action actually. So now when I covered the things, then coming to Elliott Wave, I realized that Elliott Wave covers all of the things that are discussed in the price action. So now one part in which Elliott Wave links with the price action is on the issues on the idea of channeling. Now, channeling in the price action, this relates with what we call the issues on presenting those we call the trend lines. This relates with what we call the trend lines, but now here will be very specific. It will be not only looking on how the price trends and other things. We'll look on how those wave counts may play with those we call the channels, or we have those we call the lines, with the trend lines. We will see on how price will play with those lines. So now the idea of channeling, actually you can take channeling in two parts. Now the first part where you can do channeling, you can do channeling in motive, you can do channeling in motive waves, and also now we have those who call the motive waves, and also you can apply channeling in corrective waves. We have those who call the motive and the corrective waves. Now the idea of motive and the corrective wave, I think even when we are discussing about alternation, we learned that actually alternation occurs in motive, or those we call the impasse and diagonal, and also alternation may occur in corrective waves. But mainly on alternation, we discussed that it occurs in on the side of motive. Usually alternation is mainly on the impasse. There is no alternation in diagonal. I think this would be very deep maybe to discuss the issues on alternation in diagonal. So now the idea here is we already covered the concept of motive waves, and I said motive waves are of two types, whereby a motive wave is the one that moves in the same direction as the higher degree wave. The one which is moving in the same direction as the higher degree wave is what we call the motive. So those motive waves can be in form of impulse. Motive waves can be in form of impulse, and also motive waves can be in form of diagonals. Now, those are the two waves in which motive wave can be structured. So we have the impulsive move, and then we have the diagonal move. So when we are discussing about this impulse, and now I'm repeating those things because I already described in other sessions there. I think it even in basics on Elliott wave. I think even on basics on Elliott wave, I discussed with the difference between motive, between impulse and diagonal. But now I'm repeating the things. Now, an impulse mainly is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move. Is the 5 wave move in the direction of the major trend, and diagonal also is the 5 wave move also. But diagonal has got two subdivisions whereby it can be ending diagonal and also it can be leading diagonal. It can be ending diagonal or leading diagonal. But now the difference between diagonal and impulse is that impulse is the 5 waves move, but there is no overlap between the fourth wave and the first wave. There is no overlap. That's the major difference. But in diagonal, it is the 5 wave move as usual. It is the 5 wave move, but the difference is that there is overlap between the fourth wave and the first wave. Actually, that's the major difference between impulse and diagonal. The issues on overlap. But when we come to the idea of ending diagonal and leading diagonal, you'll find that ending diagonal, it's internal building. Actually, now I'm going beyond those things because I already presented them. Now, ending diagonal, it's usually structured as the 3 wave moves. Actually, it's what we call the 3, 3, 3, 3. But leading diagonal, it is the 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. Now, we have a presentation actually. Go to what we call the playlist about the advanced Elliott wave, and then look on the presentation about the diagonals. Actually, you'll understand those major things that are beyond actually normal presentation on the idea of diagonals. But now I'm discussing those things in a very detailed thing, and mainly it can be boring to others who are yet to know about the issues on differences between diagonals and other things. But now I want to put those things clear. Now, so correction, actually corrective waves, those are waves which are moving in opposite direction from those major degree waves. So these are moving in an opposite way. If the higher degree is moving maybe in the upside, now corrective waves are those which will be moving in the downside or in opposite direction from that one. So now let us see the issues on channeling in motive waves. Let us see the issues of channeling in motive waves. Now let us see channeling. Now let us see channeling. Now this is what we call channeling in motive waves. In motive waves. Sometimes maybe spellings are not correct, but now don't consider those things. Actually, let's go with the lesson. Now channeling in the motive waves. Now we have said in motive wave we have impulse and diagonal. Now let us start with channeling within an impulse. Let us start with the channeling within an impulse. Now mainly we know that impulse is all about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top. Now we have the 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, based on other guidelines, this cannot be correct. Now, the fifth wave maybe can be like this. So now we have this as 1, then this is 2, then we have this as the 3, then we have this as 4, and finally we have this 5. So we have 5 waves move to the direction of the major trend, and there is no overlap here between wave number 1 and wave number 4. So this is what we call an impasse. This is what we call an impasse. So now how are you going to carry out what we call channeling in an impasse, and how channeling may help you? Now here we are going to see also the significance of channeling and how you can trade with the channels. So now when wave number 1 is formed, now it will be followed by correction to the wave to the second wave there. Then after correction it will start building the third wave. So now, in order to do channeling, you're supposed to have wave number 1 get completed, wave number 2 completed, and the third wave completed. So if you are doing what we call the manual channeling, actually, you need to have wave number 1, wave number 2, and wave number 3 are completed. But sometimes I'll link that concept to what we call are trading with what we call the Andrews Pitchfork tool. Andrews Pitchfork tool works as channeling. So for those who have been maybe passing through Awesome Forex channel, actually they have yet watched the video or the presentation on Andrews Pitchfork tool, how to trade with the Andrews Pitchfork tool. Now you'll see that it is present in this channel. So pass through all of the videos, you will find that. So now, if you know to trade with the Andrews Pitchfork tool, you'll be doing the same thing as channeling. So in Andrews Pitchfork tool, you'll need to have the first point, the second point, and the third point. Then other things will play automatically. But if you are doing a manual channeling, that is drawing things like trend lines, actually you're supposed to have 3 points. Now you're supposed to have this one, the second one, and the third one. So how are you going to take channeling? So if you have the first, second, and the third, so the structure will be like this. You will have the first wave, the second as corrective wave, then we will have the third wave to the top like this. So now this will be the first wave, then we have the second wave, then finally we have the third wave. So now taking out channeling, you're supposed to have those points whereby the first channel or the upper channel will be a connection between the first wave, the top of the first wave, and the top of the third wave. So now we'll draw something like this. This is the first or the upper channel, a connection between the upper or the highest point of first wave and the highest point of the third wave. That will be the upper channel. Then the lower channel will be the parallel line. Now the lower channel will be the parallel line to that of the upper channel. So you will draw a parallel line with that of the upper channel, then this will be the lower channel. So now drawing those channels, it is not only the matter of drawing them. You must understand how you trade them and how they are useful. So the usefulness of those channels is that when you have drawn the lower channel will help you to identify the point at which the fourth wave is going to end or is expected to end. So we expect the fourth wave to retrace straight down, maybe in any way around. It can be zigzag, it can be triangle, it can be flat or anything else, but we expect this wave to span up to that channel. So this will be the fourth wave. So now the significance of the lower channel, now this will mark the point at which the fourth wave is expected to end. So it is not necessary for the fourth wave to end exactly at that channel. So if it ends somewhere maybe in the mid of the way down, so you're supposed to tweak this channel to that point. So you tweak that channel to that point. But mainly this gives a rough estimation of the point at which the fourth wave is going to span. Then now the significance of the upper channel. Now the upper channel is useful in expecting or in anticipating the distance at which the fifth wave is going to span. So now the fifth wave, we will expect it will travel up to that upper channel. Now the fifth wave, now this will be the 5, and now the fifth wave. Now we expect the fifth wave will span up to the point where the upper channel has passed through. So now that's how you are going to use those channel and how you are going to present those channel now in a normal way, and mainly it is in what to call the impasse. Now this is mainly this will be applicable in what to call an impasse. So now this is very normal, but it is not necessary all the time that the price will be moving in this way. Sometimes price movement is variable usually because market is driven by the mood of the people. So actually the mood is not normal. I mean, it's not the same all the time. So sometimes the mood changes. So now you can have a different building of the impasse, whereby mainly we expect sometimes wave number 3 can be abnormal. We expect sometimes wave number 3 can be abnormal. Now what is abnormal wave number 3? The abnormal wave number 3 is the one which is moving now. Technical, I think they describe this as in a parabolic way. It's moving in a parabolic way. So now the one which is moving in 90 degree, usually the one, sometimes it not necessary to be 90, but sometimes we call it as parabolic. Now so it is an abnormal third wave. So now what if we have abnormal third wave. Abnormal third wave will affect the upper channel. The upper channel will be not like this one that we have presented here. So now, how are you going to deal with that situation if we have abnormal third wave? Now let us see the condition where we have abnormal. The condition when we have abnormal third. When we have abnormal third wave. How are you going to do when you have abnormal third wave? So the abnormal third wave is when we have this as the first wave, the second wave, and then we have the third wave, something like this. So if you have 1, 2, 3 to the top like this, when you draw the channel, you're supposed to have something like this, because you're supposed to connect to the high of the first wave, and then you connect with the high of the third wave. So connecting those two highs, you'll find that you will have something like this. It is almost a vertical upper channel. It will be almost the vertical upper channel. So usually in channeling, this is not commonly acceptable. This is not commonly acceptable if you will find that your channel is almost vertical, and it is mainly related to the structure of the third wave. So if you have almost vertical upper channel, it is not commonly acceptable. So now how are you going to deal with this situation? So you're supposed to wait for the second wave to be formed. You're supposed to wait for the second wave to be formed. So now this will be wave now. I mean the fourth wave now. It's not the second. You have to wait for the fourth wave to be formed. Wait for the fourth wave to be formed. So when the fourth wave is formed, now let's say we have the fourth wave, something like this. This was the fifth to the top. Then let's say we had the fourth wave like this. You have to wait for the fourth wave to be formed. So when the fourth wave is formed, now this is the fourth wave now. When the fourth wave is formed, in order to draw a proper channel, now this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to clean this. It is not acceptable. The vertical one is not acceptable. So now an acceptable channel will be the one with that will be drawn as follows. You will supposed to connect the lower of the to connect the second wave and the fourth wave. So you will draw the lower channel first. Now this will be different from how we were presenting the first condition when the movement of the market is normal. So now this is abnormal. So we connect the lower points first, the fourth and the second and the fourth wave, and then the upper channel will be the line which will be parallel to the lower channel. So you will draw a parallel line, something like this. You will draw a parallel line. So this parallel line with the lower channel will be the one that will be used to anticipate the point at which the fifth wave will end. So we'll expect the fifth wave to be something like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top. So it is expected to end within this channel. And now when it ends within this channel, usually when it ends within this channel is where we get the idea of truncation. For those who are truncation, this will be the truncated fifth. Truncated fifth is when the top of the third wave will be equal to the top of the fifth wave. Now the high of the third wave and the fifth wave, when they are equal, the fifth wave ends within the spine of the third wave. It's when we call there is truncation. And yes, it is very common. The principle behind truncation is that when the third wave is very strong, when the movement in the third wave is very strong, usually we expect the truncated fifth. That's why when you are drawing a channel within a very strong third wave, you will expect that the channel will be almost vertical, which is not acceptable. So now those two ideas actually they are linked each other. The idea that a channel will be vertical and the idea that truncation of the fifth is usually related with the very strong third wave. So those two things actually they are correlating. So now that's how you are going to deal with the idea of almost vertical third wave and then to anticipate the point at which the fifth wave is expected to end. Now that's all on the idea about channeling within an impasse. Channeling within an impasse. But now sometimes you can channel. Now on the second part we have channeling within a motive. The second part is channeling within the diagonal. You can channel a diagonal whereby it can be an ending diagonal or it can be a leading diagonal. But now channeling within a diagonal, it's where you'll find that a price movement, it is within two converging lines. Channeling within a diagonal, it's when you'll find that you have two converging lines. So sometimes maybe you can confuse them with triangles. We have the regular triangle, but now if you have covered the idea on the difference between diagonal and triangle, the position where you can find diagonal, the point where you can find triangle. So if you know the differences on major areas where you can find diagonal and triangle, so you'll be able to differentiate between the structure with converging lines, whether it is diagonal or if it is triangle. So now in diagonal you'll find that the price movement mainly diagonal has 5 wave moves, so it will be something like 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this. But you'll find that the top of the first wave, and then this will be the second wave, then you have the third wave, the fourth wave, and finally the fifth wave. You'll find that if you draw the channel from the high of the first wave then to the high of the fifth wave, it will be converging. It will be converging with the line drawn from the low of the second wave and the fourth wave. So it will be something like this, converging lines. So this is what we call a diagonal. This is structure with the two converging lines, which usually occurs in the first wave, or it can occur within the fifth wave. Diagonal can be in the first wave when we call it as a leading diagonal, and it can be in the fifth wave where we call it as an ending diagonal. So it have those converging lines. So it is very different from triangle. And another difference between diagonal and triangle, you will realize from the internal building, whereby diagonal, if it is leading diagonal, the major difference is with the leading diagonal. A leading diagonal has got what to call the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top, 1, 2, 3 to the down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top, 1, 2, 3 to the down, then 5 to the top. So this is what to call the leading diagonal. But channeling within diagonal, it will help you to identify the point where diagonal is going to end, especially the high of the high of the fifth wave, and also it will help you to identify when the corrections begin. When you find that the fifth wave has get completed and then price comes out of the diagonal. When the price comes out of the diagonal, now you look for the retest. Now you look for the retest to the lower channel, and then the price goes down, and it don't suppose now to pass or to move beyond this. It don't supposed to move beyond the beginning of the first wave of the diagonal. So after completing up to certain degrees, now you'll include the idea of Fibonacci levels. So now putting on the issues on those and other things, actually you can predict the point at which this correction may is going to end. So it can be also on the ending diagonal. An ending diagonal, now it will have the same structure now. An ending diagonal, so it will have the same structure. Now it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the top, but the difference is the building structure. Now here is the first wave, and then you have the second wave, then you have the third, and then you have the fourth wave, and finally we have the fifth. Now the difference is the building structure of the ending diagonal is that we have 1, 2, 3 to the top, 1, 2, 3 to the down, 1, 2, 3, 3, then the 3. Now that's why we call it the 3, 3, 3, 3, and this one is why that's why we call it the 5. 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. So now it's based on the building structure, the internal building structure. Now the ending diagonal, now the usefulness of channeling within the ending diagonal. So now it's the same thing as like trend lines, but now here we consider the usefulness of those lines. Actually we consider the usefulness and in relation to the functions of the waves. So now when this starts to correct, actually it will move straight outside to the channel, then it will retest the channel, and then moves down as a corrective structure. So now go and watch a session on diagonals. Actually I discussed those things in detail about diagonals. So if you need to understand the issues on diagonals, go and and watch them there. But here I need to give you the concept on how channels may work, and this is one of the point where Elliott wave relates with what we call the Elliott wave relates with what we call the price action. Now we are through with the issues on channeling within motive wave, whereby we have covered channeling within the impasse and channeling within diagonal. So now let's see the last part, which is channeling within correction. Now channeling within corrective waves. Let us see the idea of channeling within corrective waves. Now corrective waves, actually we have many corrective waves. Look at, we have triangles, we have things like zigzag, we have we have flats. Actually all of them, they are corrective structures. So now let us see channeling, the areas where channels may work. So now we may have zigzag. Zigzag is something like this one, the ABC. Zigzag is the ABC. Now if it is maybe in an uptrend, a zigzag is the ABC. So now how are you going to deal with those channels within a zigzag? Mainly you'll find that when you are channeling the zigzags, you'll have to combine 2 points. It's mainly 2 points, the start of the wave A and the high of the wave B. So now this will be the upper channel. So the upper channel will combine those 2 points, and then you will have the lower channel, whereby the lower channel will have to connect the end of the wave A, and then this will be used to predict the point at which wave C is going to end. Because when you are connecting those 3 points, we will be not yet have this wave C. So the usefulness of the channeling within corrective waves, the first part at which they are useful is to predict the point at which wave C is going to end. So now let's say we have this wave A up to this point, then we have wave B to that top. So we are looking for the point at which wave C is going to end. So we will connect this high of wave A, I mean the beginning of wave A and wave B. We will have this upper channel. Then the lower channel will be the parallel line, the line which is parallel with that upper channel. This will be the lower channel, and therefore we will expect the third wave, we will expect wave C to end within a channel. We would expect wave C to end within a channel, but now this is not a rule. This is the guideline, so sometimes it is broken. That's why yes, I described this on the introductory part, that usually guidelines are broken. So sometimes it may break this guideline, whereby this wave C may move beyond the channel, may break the channel, or sometimes may move just not touching the channel. So all of those things are acceptable because those are the guidelines. So now this is the first part at which channeling within a corrective wave is useful. Will be used to predict the point at which wave C is going to end. And now this is on zigzag. Then the second part at which this will be useful, it will be used to predict the point at which correction has been completed, whereby you will find that the price will move outside of the channel. You will find that the price maybe has started to move with the 1, 2, 3, 4 things goes on. So when the price has moved outside of the channel, it will be the point at which you'll mark that correction has get completed. But sometimes you can find that the price may keep on moving within a channel, especially when you have combinations, things like the WXY, ZAIDI. You'll find that the price may take too long, maybe moving within channels. It is where we'll find the things we want to call things like combinations. But mainly you'll use this to predict wave C, and also you'll use this to predict the point at which correction has got completed, and mainly this is in zigzag. Then the last thing will be how you'll use channels on flats. How you'll use channels on flats. Flats mainly can be irregular flat, can be running flat, and also can be expanding flat. But now let us see the idea of regular flats. Regular flat is when those who apply price actions, usually they draw those who call the support and the resistance. You'll find that price is moving in what to call the rectangle version. The price will be moving in a rectangle version. This is what to call the regular flat. So a flat will be something like, here we have this A, then we have B, then finally we have C. So you will connect the high of this A and C, and then you'll connect, you'll start with connecting the beginning of the wave A and wave B as usual. You'll connect the beginning of wave A and wave B, and then you will draw a parallel line. This will help you to predict, to anticipate at which wave C is going to end. Then after having this, maybe those channels also will be used to predict the breakout when the price has already completed zigzag structure. So the price may, after completion of this wave C, a price may continue to move outside of the channel, and then trending will keep on. So now that's how you are going to use the idea of channeling and how you can trade with the issues on channeling. Now that's all. So this is a very important thing, and it is very useful to those who want to trade profitably with the idea of Elliott wave, and it's something I think it is very new for those who have been searching those contents on YouTube or anywhere else. Actually, it's very rarely to find that people are presenting those things. Most of the mentors actually, they apply those things in a real market, but they have not yet presented them. So they are using they are just useful for themselves and not for their students. That's why sometimes you can find that I have lent Elliott wave to someone who will apply it and get profited, but I don't get profits. No, so you don't get profits because actually you miss some contents. So I have decided to launch this advanced Elliott wave course for the purpose of bringing to you those very, very useful things. So thank you for watching this, and I'm waiting for your response on the comment section. So make sure that you put out your comment. Maybe if you appreciate the session, you appreciate it, or you don't appreciate it, you need something to be modified or to be improved. So make sure that you put in a comment section. But remember to subscribe, remember to join to the broker, to follow our Telegram, then to follow on Instagram and everything else. So thank you for your time, and have a nice time.